You know that morning coffee or that afternoon energy drink? It feels absolutely essential, right? But have you ever stopped and wondered what's really happening inside your chest when that caffeine hits? Well, today we're going to break down that intricate dance between caffeine and your heart. So many of us rely on that daily caffeine kick. But have you ever had that feeling, that little flutter, that slight race in your pulse after a really strong cup and just thought, what's that all about? Let's dig into the science behind that feeling. If caffeine is part of your daily routine, well, you're in very, very good company. And I mean, almost everybody. A staggering 90% of people across the entire globe consume caffeine in some form every single day. It's in our coffee, our tea, our sodas. It is officially the world's favorite psychoactive substance. So, how does this stuff actually work? To really understand that caffeine rush, we have to zoom way in, right down to the molecular level. And it all starts with a clever little act of impersonation that's happening inside your brain. See, all day long, as you're working and thinking and just living, your body is producing this chemical called adenosine. Now, the easiest way to think about adenosine is like your body's own natural brake pedal. It builds up, it plugs into receptors in your brain, and it basically signals that it's time to slow down, making you feel tired. And this is where caffeine works its magic. Its molecular shape is so ridiculously similar to adenosine that it can sneak right into those same receptors and just block them. So now your body's natural brakes are jammed. Your brain kind of panics and goes, whoa, what's happening? And it triggers the release of adrenaline, kicking you into that classic fight or flight mode. And that sends a direct message to your heart. Hey, time to speed up. Okay, so that's the chemical signal. But what does it actually feel like? Well, this chain reaction produces an immediate physical rush that we can literally measure all throughout your cardiovascular system. First things first, your blood pressure gets a temporary but pretty noticeable bump. Studies show that your systolic pressure, that's the top number by the way, it can spike by 5 to 10 points pretty soon after you have that drink. And then, of course, there's the most obvious effect, the one you can actually feel. Your heart starts beating faster. Now, it's different for everyone, but a typical increase is somewhere around 3 to 7 extra beats per minute. That's the racing feeling we all recognize. But wait, it's not just about speed. Caffeine also makes your heart muscle contract more forcefully with every single beat. So your heart isn't just beating faster, it's actually beating stronger. But, and this is a big but, here's where the story gets a lot more complicated. This reaction isn't the same for everybody or for every drink you have. It really all boils down to two huge factors: the source of your caffeine and, of course, the dose. I mean, just think about it for a second. A cup of coffee is pretty straightforward, right? Its main active ingredient is caffeine. But an energy drink, that is a whole different ballgame. It's often this chemical cocktail, mixing huge doses of caffeine with other stimulants like taurine and guarana, which can seriously amplify the effects on your heart. And the amount is just critical. Moderate intake, we're talking up to about 400 milligrams a day, which is roughly 4 cups of coffee. That's generally considered safe for most healthy adults. But when you start to push past that into excessive territory, well, that's when the risk for heart rhythm problems, arrhythmias, really begins to climb. Which brings us to a really crucial point. Our reaction to caffeine is incredibly personal. What's perfectly fine for me might be really risky for you. This is definitely not a one-size-fits-all situation. Dr. Michael Ackerman over at the Mayo Clinic puts it perfectly. He warns, and I'm quoting him here, it's the magnitude and the combination of the chemicals in energy drinks that can catch the vulnerable heart off guard. It's a powerful warning. So what exactly makes a heart vulnerable? Well, it could be a few things. Maybe an undiagnosed genetic condition or a pre-existing arrhythmia. But here's a really fascinating one: your own DNA. There's a specific gene that actually determines how fast you metabolize caffeine. If you happen to be a slow metabolizer, that caffeine just hangs out in your system way longer, and its impact is much, much greater. So what is the single most important thing to take away from all of this? It's really simple. Listen to your body. If you experience palpitations, that weird fluttery feeling, or a racing heartbeat, or you get dizzy after some caffeine, those are not random feelings. They are direct signals from your heart telling you that you might be pushing it a little too far. So in the end, caffeine's relationship with our hearts is, well, it's complicated. For a lot of us, in moderation, it's a perfectly helpful tool. But for others, it can be a hidden trigger. The only way to really know which it is for you is to understand the science, be mindful of what you're drinking, and above all else, always listen to your body.